Okay, so now in this next stage, I'm going to try to set up some of the structure that will let me create the screen. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to select just the polygon that's currently right here in the middle of the whole thing. And be careful, if you select that polygon by, drawing a little window like that, you're like, okay, I'll get that by drawing a little window like that. Be careful because you might get more than you bargained for. See how I got the back? So just single clicking it, looking over here, polygon 3 selected. I know I've only got one thing selected and it's okay for me to make a change to it. And I'll go ahead and make that initial change. So going back to my reference image, because I always need to refer to this as I'm looking at this. And I can see that now I'm at the bottom of this area that's kind of inset. But if I look at my model right here, actually it slopes in a lot. Doesn't it slope in a lot? And I'd like to take this steep slope, I'd like to make it even steeper. So if I get the scale tool, and I scale in X and Z, now if I scale too much, it's gonna shove right outside of the TV, and that would be silly, you know. But scaling that back, and then let me see how this is looking in here. Nice. Yeah. It sinks in better. It's got the rounded edge. It's got the rounded edge that I'm looking for. Actually, it's kind of really sharp. I may have to try to find a way to round that a little bit better. Um, might have to just connect all those vertices to give me the detail I need in order to put a round edge shape on it. I can deal with that later. I think I'm going to get my move tool, and I'm just going to move it back a little bit in Y, just to sink it a little bit deeper. Because my reference image, it looks like that edge is a pretty high lip. It's a pretty high lip there going down to it. And so I really want to be able to see that detail. And in fact, I think I know how I'm going to fix this. And I ought to fix it pretty nice. So with the polygon right there, I'm going to switch back to edge. And the edge I want to get is this one right here. I'm going to double click it. And let's see, what did it get me when I double clicked it? Did it just get me the edge? Just that edge? It did just get me that edge. All right. Now what happens if I move that edge down? Move it down and scale it in all three axes. So I moved it down and I scaled it in all three axes. Scaled it too much. Scale it out a little bit. Nope, don't like it. Control Z my way out of that. I'll mess with this later. Back to the polygon. On this polygon right here, I need to start creating that space here around this interface right here. And so I'm going to just do an inset, but I need to get a line cut right across here too. I need to get a line cut right across there. So let's see. If I were to connect, if I picked this edge right here, if I come over here and I grab that edge, so I've got these two edges, this edge and that edge. I got those two edges connected. And I'm going to just click the connect button once. I just want to put a straight line in across that. I just want one line. So I click the connect button, puts that line in. Change to vertices, or heck, I could have just stayed on that edge and get the move tool, and I'm going to move that edge down the screen. I want to separate those polygons. I want to know where the top part is, where my TV screen is going to be. TV screen will be up there in the top part. Controls will be down in the bottom part. So I'm setting up the space to get my top part and my bottom part. Then I'm going to look at this and decide, okay, am I happy with where I'm putting that? Generally happy with where I'm putting that? And I would say, yeah, I'm generally happy with where I'm putting that. Now I'll go back to polygons. That gets me on this polygon right here. This is the one I'm going to turn into the screen that's going to become my TV. So I'm going to do an inset. Did one of those earlier. There's Andrew. Do we have a pass? There we go. You've been in a meeting. Thanks, Andrew. This just lets me mark it late excused, okay? But you'd rather have that than being absent for seeing your counselor, right? There we go. Let me make a note here. Should have paused the recording, but that's okay. The life of being a teacher. So, with polygon selected here, I'm going to open up the inset menu again, and it's going to do the inset here. And let me see, how far do I want to do this inset? And keep in mind, the inset's being done, it's flat. It's being done flat. And I want it to be inset a bit here. Okay, I want it to be inset a bit. And it's got a good look here for the space I'm setting up. A little more. I want a little more. This thing actually, the actual TV screen is a small part of that front face. I think from there I'll be able to finish off the face. So almost 3. Now, vertices. At the moment, I want to have a little more control over this shape. I'd like to return it to something like a square. So I'm going to collapse a bunch of these vertices right here. Let me see if Target Weld will do it for me. If Target Weld will solve my problems. Good. And I still have my general structure around the edge, but I've reduced this corner to a nice fine point. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to Target Weld the same, bringing these vertices in. There's a way to do this correct, by the way, also. So I'm going from the outside in, collapsing these closer and closer to that spot in the middle. I bring it all together, and now this polygon is now back to a nice square shape. Get back on the polygons, and I'm going to want to be able to round all 4 corners of this polygon. And I'm going to do another inset, not quite so big. Well, that'll do. And I'll accept that. This is the thing I'm going to turn into my screen. This is the thing that I'm going to turn into my screen. Now, how do I back myself into a corner here? Let's see what happens. I want to select these, just the diagonal edges that I created here when I did this. Just want to select those diagonal edges. And let me see what happens when I hit camphor. Oh man, that really blew everything up. Created the world's craziest look there. I don't like that at all. But let's see, can I, one's not going to work. Two, even three, 4, 5, 6. We're getting crazy here. Man, it's just introducing a ton of vertices in there. Don't want to do it. What am I doing? Too far. There we go. Brought that in. Okay. All right. I think I'm okay with that. It didn't blow up my edges too much. I'll accept that. All right. Good. Now I'm going to select this polygon right here in the middle, and I'm going to do a bevel with this. And I'm beveling it in. Maybe not bevel it in just yet. First, let me do an inset. Much smaller, way too big. Too many lines. Bevel that in like that. Okay, good. I like that. Beveled in a little bit like that. And then now I will do the bevel to bevel it in. Then I'm going to do another bevel. But this time, instead of beveling in, I'm going to bevel out. Crazy stuff's happening up here, isn't it? Doesn't like me to do a bevel right there. So I'll do the world's smallest inset, like a 0.07 inset. And then let me bevel this, see if I can bevel this out. It's the beveling height is the problem. No. I got that inset though. I did get that inset in. So with the inset in, I'll switch to the move tool, pull this out. I see the problem up here at the top. I got some weird stuff happening with some vertices up here in this corner. There's some weird stuff happening with vertices in that corner. Let me go to vertex mode. Take a look at what's happening here. Okay, there's a lot of the problem. So if I'm looking at my edges here, yeah, so I've got myself backed into a corner here. In fact, I'm really cutting a whole bunch into this. See my way out of this. Back to where I started before. And I'm going to have to call it quits because it's almost time for our guest to show up.